Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome back from the networking break at the Remote Workforce Summit. We hope you had excellent business connections in the networking break. For our next session, I would like to call Ruben Spruit, the senior technologist at Nutanix, all the way away from Netherlands. Ruben is a well-regarded author, a speaker, a market analyst, a technologist. I would like to call Ruben on to throw some light on the topmost question in everyone's mind: how to manage remote workers. Over to you, Ruben.
Sure, great. Good morning. Good to see you. Let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah, I can. Let's switch to the right screen, this one here, and go to presentation mode, which is great. Well, Gavin, good morning. Thank you for joining my session, Managing Remote Workers. And the topmost question on everyone's mind will be like, hey, what can I do to support my my remote workforce, my colleagues, my customers, maybe my students who are studying or working from home? You will learn in 20 minutes how to become the end-user computing ninja and learn how to support your remote workers, your colleagues, with the topmost questions. And the topmost question is, how do I get stuff done? How do I get work done while working remote? While preparing this session for the Remote Workforce Summit, I found many interesting topics in this overview, the focus overview. Employee engagement, happy end users, colleagues, partners, students is key, which means right end user computing solutions so they are engaged and happy. Building and scale remote teams is a huge part in culture, human resources, and employee focus. And it's also connected to technology solutions to support remote teams to get work done. Deciding the best remote strategy, supporting a remote workforce also means solutions to execute on this strategy. So, and there's more as well, but at least 50% of the topics I see here on the focus area are connected to my story. And my story is not about managing remote workers. My story is about solutions to support remote workers, and the question, how to support you, me, we, how to support us while working remote. I'm a remote worker myself. I'm based in Netherlands. I'm a technologist. My background is technology. I work from home for full-time, like 6-7 years. There's a different topic, like the pros and cons of working from home, but I want to share my experiences in the end-user computing space so that you will become the end-user computing ninja. I'm Ruben, I'm technologist at Nutanix, and as Nutanix, we are aimed at one thing, is disrupting and improving the way customers, consumers think about and manage their public and private cloud computing solutions. All done with modern workspace solutions such as Frame and strong partnership with other end-user computing partners such as Citrix. What I want to do, I want to share 3 ways the cloud is reshaping end-user computing. So 3 ways the cloud is reshaping end-user computing. And traditionally, end-user computing has been dominated by on-premises solutions like virtual desktop infrastructure, VDI. But the cloud has changed and has ushered the emergence of desktop as a service, DaaS. And many organizations have transitioned from a design, build, support model to as a service model. And I want to share more about that. So there are 3 main topics which we'll cover in this like probably 50 minutes session. Everything as a service, so X as a service, browser is the OS, and choice. I already used the term EUC, end user computing, a couple of times. And maybe you wonder, hey, I'm new to this space. I have no clue what EUC or end user computing means. And why should I care about that? And if you ask yourself, what is EUC or what is EUC for you? You will, it's tough to interact right now, but for sure, there will be many responses to what EUC means. And if you ask me, like hands-on guy, feet on the ground, what is end user computing? It's tools, it's solutions to get stuff done, to get work done. And it all starts with me. And me is not Ruben, based in Netherlands, 3 kids, married, but me is what I call business consumers. Me is us, our colleagues, our partners, our students, our contractors who need solutions to get work done. And these solutions fit in the bucket workspace. So workspace is the sort of umbrella term to get stuff done, is end user computing. And you need data center, on premises or public cloud or both to support this workspace, to support end user computing. So in every project, it starts with me, the business consumer. What do I need to be productive? What do I need to have a happy employee? What do I need to support my business outcomes? That's all aligned and connected to end user computing. And data center and infrastructure as a service and cloud services in general are services connected to end user computing. So if you ask yourself, what is end user computing? It can be many different things. It can be productivity, like Office 365 or Google Suite. These are web applications, mobile applications, Windows applications provided by service providers through desktop as a service, modern identity systems to log in securely, unified communication platforms, like the platform we use right now to sort of communicate or to stream content, but also solutions to manage devices, to manage Chromebooks, Windows devices, MacBooks, mobile devices, solutions to share data and to collaborate with from a data perspective, enterprise file sharing, and so on and so on. So all these items combined is end user computing. It's really an exciting market because end user computing is very close to me, the business consumer, close to Ruben, to you, to us, to we. All these end user computing solutions I mentioned here would not exist or wouldn't exist without cloud services. So cloud services are fundamental and are core for a modern workspace. So that's the first item here. Everything as a service or acts as a service. Cloud services are core in a modern workspace. So while talking about different solutions, you can ask, well, what about Windows applications in a web application and mobile application world? So what about Windows apps like Office or Photoshop or Premiere or AutoCAD or any, like there are like thousands and thousands and thousands of Windows apps. What about these apps in a modern world? Are Windows apps not classic, old school legacy? Do I care about Windows applications? Well, some people think, well, nobody cares, but that's completely wrong. For many, many, many customers, Windows apps are a core element in a modern workspace in 2020, in 2025, and in 2030. Why? Because Windows apps are embedded into their environment, are embedded into their processes, are embedded into their workflows. And yes, Windows apps, maybe 10 years ago, were fully dominating the IT environment. And you didn't have web apps, mobile apps, maybe 15 years ago. And yes, Windows apps are transformed to web applications and to mobile applications. The really tough and deep integrated Windows apps are here to stay for a long time. And until the last time, until the date when you can migrate the final Windows app off to another platform, you still need a Windows platform to run Windows applications. How do you access and use Windows applications then, if that is a given? There are two ways to run Windows applications. One way is, of course, physical laptops, Windows PC, desktops, workstations, ultrabooks, and so on. Machines running in Windows operating system. And a different approach is using virtual desktops and applications. Virtual desktop infrastructure and desktop as a service fit in that bucket. There are pros and cons. I don't have the time right now to explain the pros and cons of both type of approaches, but there are pros and cons of both. For now, I will focus on the virtual desktop and application side. So why do customers care? Why do you care about virtual applications and desktops? And it's all about simplifying the management and delivery of applications to your consumers. Maybe these consumers, maybe the students, maybe the contractors, maybe your colleagues don't have a corporate owned device. They want to use their own, bring your own device. So you want to enhance and protect intellectual property. You want to enhance security. You want to enable bring your own device and corporate owned device programs. You want to support a work from anywhere, like a remote workforce. You really want to simplify and accelerate the onboarding and offboarding of applications. But also if colleagues enter the organization, make it very simple and with a great user experience so that they can start using these apps like instant. So enhancing user experience is super important. User experience is king in a remote workforce. And increasing productivity is like aligned and attached to that. I did write a blog post. You can see the link here. The content will be shared through the organization later. It's also recorded, so you can also pick up the recording, or if you're watching later, thanks for watching. But the link will explain the why around VDI and desktop as a service. And Nutanix, my company, is really a platform to make VDI and desktop work really well. And Nutanix is also a solution provider in the context of desktop as a service to support virtual applications and desktops as a service. And that's what we do for many years. So we are strong aligned to Citrix and to VMware to support the best platform to run virtual applications and desktops. And also with the acquisition of Frame, my company, almost 2 years ago, Nutanix Frame is able to deliver virtual desktops and applications as a service. And I will explain a little bit more how that looks like. And the best thing to do that is by sort of demonstrating how it works. So imagine I'm using any device. This could be my Windows machine. This could be my iPad. Can be my Chromebook, or can be my MacBook, which I'm using right now. Any device with a browser, with an HTML5 browser. That's the only thing I need. And imagine I'm using that browser to start a virtual desktop or a virtual application environment. In this case, the browser is accessing a virtual desktop environment. So you see a full Windows desktop interface running on my MacBook. And this interface is able to run all kinds of air quote crazy Windows applications, Inventor, Revit, design applications, but also Office or SAP, or maybe legacy plugins like Silverlight or Flash. Run any Windows application in a browser is the tagline of Xi Frame. It's the tagline of Nutanix Frame. These apps you see right now are not physically running on my endpoint, on my PC. The browser is just the sort of interface to interact with a virtual machine in public clouds, Amazon, Azure, or Google, or in your own on-premises data center powered by Nutanix AHV. And the user will connect to that environment through the Frame service, the Frame control plane, the Frame broker. And the Frame broker handles remote-in protocol, handles authentication, handles storage integration, handles many different things. So that is Frame. Frame is a cloud service, a cloud platform with the focus to deliver Windows apps and desktops. I already explained that Windows apps are important. Windows apps are part of a modern workspace. And if you can use a browser, any browser, to access Windows applications on any device without installing anything on the browser, no clients, no receiver, no plugin, just HTML5 with a great user experience. Multi-screen, cut and paste, 60 frames per second. That's what you saw in this small video demo. So Frame is service and not software. And the service is the control plane, the broker, is something we operate, and the broker is able to connect with 3 different public cloud platforms, including an on-premises platform to run the virtual applications and desktops. What makes the most sense, on-prem or public cloud? Yeah, that's a different topic to discuss. I will briefly touch on that one in a couple of slides. But often it depends, where is my data? What's the use case? Is that seasonal? Is that up and down scaling? Is that disaster recovery? Do you want to leverage multiple cloud regions? Are these regions available? These type of questions determine to use public cloud or on-premises resources. The Frame service itself can integrate with both on-premises and public clouds. And that's what you see here. In the middle, you see the desktop as a service layer. That is Frame, that is Nutanix Frame, able to connect with infrastructure services on premises or public cloud. And then the application installation, the application configuration is in the top layer. That's where the managed service provider, that's where the IT department will kick in, because they are responsible for installing and updating the application. The middle layer makes it very simple to support like the software-defined workspace, the installation of apps, the publishing of apps to 10, 100,000, 10,000 of users at that point in time. So Frame summarized is run any application in a browser. And a browser is important because we spend more and more time every day in a browser. So why not just run Windows applications, these classic applications in a browser as well? That's the second topic. The browser is the operating system. For many of us, the browser is the OS. We care less about the device, we just care about get stuff done. And the browser is an important solution in getting stuff done, getting work done. Let's focus on the third topic. Cloud is disrupting the norm. My background is technology. When I was CTO for a large system integrator, we had a team of probably 7, 8 Microsoft Exchange consultants 10 years ago. And when I joined that company half a year ago to explain about trends and developments in end-user computing, I exactly shared this picture as well. Cloud disrupting the norm. And I asked the question, hey, where are the 8 colleagues who were focusing on Exchange when I was CTO? And they said, well, they are not there anymore. 2 of them are still here and they focus on Exchange. And all the rest of the colleagues are transitioned to cloud consultants, are focusing on Office 365 and not focusing on-prem with Exchange solutions. So cloud is disrupting the norm of unified communications and the norm of collaboration as well. And the cloud is disrupting infrastructure. The cloud is disrupting virtual applications and desktops. And that's why desktop as a service is so hard. So engaging for many of the customers and partners. But also there's also a sort of downside, and I'm a technologist. I'm a Dutch guy, I feet on the ground. I don't wear wooden shoes, but if I would say feet on the ground, okay, great, all this greatness, but what are the downsides? What are the cons of certain concepts or certain technologies? And that also applies to public cloud. What are the biggest challenges in adopting public cloud? And I'm part of a community called VDI Like a Pro. And every year for the last 7 years, we run a survey. And one of the questions of this year's survey is what are the biggest challenges in using or adopting public cloud in the context of VDI and desktop as a service. You can see almost 500 people filled in the survey. And if you look at the results, you see cost, 22%, business case, 90%, legal regulation, 13%, trust, 12%, performance, 10%. These are the challenges I see in the field, but also 500 people who supported this survey responded to that with this result. This second question is, what is the cloud strategy with regard to workload machines, the machines to run apps and desktops? And you can see that hybrid, a combination of public cloud and on-prem, is like almost 60%. And a single public cloud is close to like 40%. And a multi-public cloud is just 6%. So you can see that hybrid and choice is important for many of the people who filled in the survey. And choice in this context means when to use on-premises, when to use your data center, modernized by Nutanix, when to use public cloud, Amazon, Azure, Google. And there are pros and cons. You can see them here. That's why I listed them here. And if you ask me, please don't be a lemming. Maybe you remember the lemming game a long time ago, where the people, like small lemmings, were just walking side by side to execute a certain task. Please don't be a lemming. Cloud first doesn't mean cloud only. The reality is choice. The reality is hybrid. And that's the third item here. So the first one is everything as a service. The second one is browser is the OS. And the third one is choice. And to connect that with Frame is run any application in a browser. Frame is a service, is browser-based, and you have choice to run your workload machines on premises or in public clouds. And that's I really like choice. It is really helpful to have choice and to connect business case and use case to technology solutions. And then if you have choice to go left or to go right, yeah, that's a great asset to have. And Frame is really leading in the desktop as a service space, as a service browser based, and with choice. With that, I would say 20 minutes are close to an end. Thanks for watching live, listening live, or thanks for watching and listening the recorded session. And thanks big time for your time. So 3 ways the cloud is reshaping end user computing. EUC already was important, and especially these days is super important with a flexible workforce, remote workforce. It's a fundamental pillar in that in a technology stack to support you, me, us as a remote workforce. Thanks for listening again. Bye.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you very much for such an enlightening session and answering the most important question. And thank you everyone for attending. I would now request the attendees to join the next session, which is by Mr. Barry Lumpkins, the Global Director of Leadership and Talent Development of DB World UAE. Thank you, Ruben, once again. I'll see you all in the next session.
Bye-bye.